The first catalyst was reading a book by Eckhart Tolle called A New Earth. Now, I've known about 20 people personally who have read this book, and only a couple of us found it as pivotal and life-changing as I did. A few others found it very useful, a lot found it at least worth the read, and I don't actually know what the differences were. I don't know how one would identify whether A New Earth would be a good fit for a particular person. I do know that as I read it, I found myself moving out of suffering and stress and back into a state of peace more easily, more quickly, and more often. The list of ongoing and recurring experiences which had the power to interrupt my sense of peace began to shrink. So did the time I spent suffering before catching my snap and making my way back into a state of peace. This made some sense to me because A New Earth talks a lot about a concept Eckhart Tolle calls making peace with the present moment. I just wasn't clear as to exactly what about that was really making a difference. Being in the moment and accepting what is had been part of my fundamental intentions in living for many years. Making peace with the present moment, as described in A New Earth, seemed to combine those two, but it didn't add any new information I could put my finger on to the picture. There were no specific new techniques that made this easier or new insights that made it more understandable. Still, for the first time in my life, I was actually spending enough of my daily experience in a state of peace that it began to stop feeling like a rare, fleeting, fragile thing. Instead, peace began to seem normal, durable, resilient, and something to be relied on. Though I didn't have good words at the time for the differences, I did begin to have a better and better intuitive understanding of how to stay at peace through whatever life threw at me, and how to get back more quickly when something actually spun me out of it. I was still in the midst of these changes and months from being able to describe them when I discovered matrix energetics.